Continue on Northwest Highway for 2 miles.
Oh, I didn't know you were still on. So this is what I've been learning about, what's going on with me. I've been understanding that that I have to be reprogrammed.
Turn right to stay on Meadow Creek Court, then turn left onto Northwest Highway.
Okay, I do. I need reprogramming.
At the stop sign, turn left onto Northwest Highway.
Why? Yeah, see, that's that bullshit that it does. It'll have you go all the way that way to get on the freeway to come all the way back. We're not doing that.
Continue on Northwest Highway for 2 miles.
But like I said, I've come to realize in a difficult way that I'm going to need to be reprogrammed, right? The 4 years working in a warehouse environment has definitely changed my whole demeanor about acclimating myself to the work environment. So I am going to go to an unemployment office like I said I would do yesterday. Yesterday I said I'm going to need to go to the unemployment office, right? I kind of disappointed myself yesterday. Like I said, I thought I had woke up early because I usually wake up early, right? I've been awake since about 7 o'clock. What I usually do is I feed the dogs, let them out, and then, start my lightweight exercises and maybe even do, my mile walk. However, today I have only done my lightweight exercises, and now I'm getting out, to go to the unemployment office to see if I can get help, doing my resume, and then, also getting things lined up to where, I can start applying for jobs. One of the things that I was kind of afraid of is, getting involved with employment listings that weren't legit, okay? And there had been people who had talked about, they got caught, right? They were told that they were working, and they worked for 2 weeks, expecting to get their first check, and come to find out that that wasn't even a legitimate.
In a quarter mile, turn right onto I-635 Service Road, Lyndon B. Johnson Freeway.
That it wasn't even a legitimate job, right? The website went down. Yeah, it was sad.
At the light, turn right onto I-635 Service Road, Lyndon B. Johnson Freeway. Then
they
slide
were
left onto the ramp
expecting
to
to pay their
I-635
bills,
West.
and it was sad, and I was like, wow, I'd hate to be in that
Slide
kind of
left onto the ramp to
position.
I-635 West, then merge onto I-635 West. In 1,000 feet, turn right after the gas station.
But there are some people who don't care. You know, to them, it's like, you know, your problem, you know? So I'm like, ooh, you know, I'd rather do nothing.
At the light, turn right onto Shiloh Road.
Than to be, you know, caught in a situation like that.
In a quarter mile, turn right onto Garland Road.
See, this GPS map is trying to get me to get on the freeway, and I don't want to get on the freeway. That's the last thing I want to do is get on the freeway. That will burn down my battery so
turn right
fast.
onto Garland Road.
But the unemployment office in the Mesquite and Irvin area is not open.
Continue on Texas 244 spur for 3/4 of a mile.
I'm going to the one that they suggested. I didn't try to go to the one in Irving, but I'm going to go to the one that they suggested and I'm going to see what they got going on there. Okay? Because my thinking and my feeling is that, okay, if I go there, and of course, you know, they are more, they got their finger on the pulse of the job market, you know, and this is the things that I'm expecting. What I'm expecting by going to the unemployment office is for them to educate me on how to make myself more marketable, and then have them also help me with my resume so that, you know, I can be more marketable, you know, because, you know, I hate selling myself, right? Selling myself is like putting me on the auction block. Is so much like, I don't know, slavery. But, you know, like I said, I know I have to do something.
In 1,000 feet, turn right after Walgreens.
One way or another. It was either going to be positive or not.
At the light, turn right onto Jupiter Road.
I'm sure that guy just burned up a lot of gas to go nowhere.
Continue on Jupiter Road for 3/4 of a mile. Continue on Texas 244 spur for 1 mile.
So yeah, nothing I never expected. First of all, I never expected to be solo dolo, even though I like it. I like it a lot. All right, I do.
In a quarter mile, turn right onto Plano Road.
I didn't expect, you know, not to have achieved, you know, that stage of retirement, especially after, you know, seeing it. You know, I had conceived it, you know, in my head.
At
That's
the light,
what was
turn
gonna
right
happen.
onto Plano Road.
And it just about happened. I was, like I said, I was a year and a half away, and that's when, you know, somebody burned
Make
that
a
bridge
U-turn,
for
then
me.
turn left onto Plano Road.
All right.
Make a U-turn, then turn left onto Plano Road.
Of course, maybe everything happens for a reason.
Make a U-turn at Cache America Pond.
See, they keep wanting me to go back to the fucking freeway, and I'm not
In
going to
600
the freeway.
feet, make a U-turn at Focus Staff
to have a hard copy of a resume. Like I said, I've been looking for a resume, and
Turn right onto Audelia
I don't know.
Road.
I guess the whole marketing yourself on these resumes has completely changed.
In 400 feet, continue onto Texas 12 Loop West.
And that I can't assume that the old way of doing
Continue for
things
3 miles.
will work, when the whole language is changing, right? They're using new words even to explain old dialect, right? What we used to say, computer basic or binary code, they now are trying to call it cubics, right? And it's like, okay, whatever, right? So, what we call a process, they'll call quantum physics. And I was watching that and I was like, oh, that's so cute, that they would change, the definitions of words and stuff, and then, try to make it seem like this is something new, and yeah. And they have systems out there where, you can use plain language, to create, a software program. You don't have to know HMLT. You don't have to know that language. You don't have to know Unix. Okay? That's how easy that they made it for the common person. Right? You don't even have to know how to type, because now they have Word. You can dictate to the computer to type it up for you. So yeah, I already know, having spent like 4 years in the warehouse industry, that I'm definitely gonna need, some reprogramming, right? I'm definitely gonna have to slowly, if I don't get into like a job that has a uniform, yeah. I'm not, like I said, I'm not completely, aware. I mean, when I was in the business sector, as a woman, I wore heels. Now, I don't know why these women don't wear heels, but I think they should wear heels. That way, the men don't be looking down on you. But that's just me, because when I put on heels, I'm going to be 6 feet. don't know why, women want to be less and smaller than a man. But that's their prerogative. But it's my prerogative that I don't want to be. And not every species out there is smaller than males. A lot of species of out there, the female is much bigger than the male. Oh my God, the synchronicity between...
In a quarter mile, use the right lane to take the US
Stephen
75
Burns,
North ramp.
right? I was talking about, how my algorithm bombarded me with Deep Blue Sea...
Use the right lane to take the US 75 North ramp.
movies, like from the Discovery Channel, from National Geographic and
Continue
stuff.
on US 75 North for 4 miles.
Interesting enough, Stephen
In 600
Burns
feet, use the left lane
started
to make a
talking
U-turn.
about our oceans.
Use the left lane to make a U-turn.
Then I
In
started...
800 feet, use the left 2 lanes to turn slightly left. Continue on Texas 12 Loop West for 3/4 of a mile.
Then I started thinking about the effects of the earthquakes, platonics, volcanoes, and also being spiritual, right? So he had did this meditation after talking about all of these things and said that
In a quarter mile, turn right onto Hillcrest Road.
He touches in on all of these things, to try to get answers from multiple fractals.
At the light, turn right onto Hillcrest Road.
Okay, I will turn right on Hillcrest Road. I will.
Continue on Hillcrest Road for 4 miles.
So yeah, I thought that was interesting. Okay, I just did. Matter of fact, I think it's quite interesting that, as isolated as I am, right? There's a lot of things that come on my algorithm. However, there are important things that come on my algorithm, and I talk about them. And I'm glad that I do talk about them, right? So we still got the chemtrails in the sky, but I did wake up and take my allergy, my mucus, and also my nasal sprays. I've done that. Okay. So, and I mean, even going to the unemployment office, I'm going there in leggings, tennis shoes, and a pullover, right? And I'm like, first steps, right? My thinking is, can I take the first steps, right? Which is, talking to the unemployment office, maybe somebody that could help me with the resume, telling me how the job market is today. Basically, because a lot of times when you're doing an interview, you're interviewing, via Zoom. You're not going into the office anymore. You're not. Right? Like we're affected by the economy. Let me go down Royal. Right? Because we're definitely affected hard. We've been affected hard, right? Like I said, I'm behind in all of my bills. And I kept hoping and wishing and praying that something would have came about. And honestly, if we had gotten a stimulus, I could have been saved, right? I could have been saved. I could have been given more time. I could have been, who knows, right? Why they didn't want to, maybe they had got that same download, that I have received was, oh my gosh, if you give everybody a stimulus, guess what these motherfuckers are going to do? These motherfuckers are going to buy more weapons, more drugs. They're not thinking about, using that money to pay bills. Well, yeah, they are thinking about using that money to pay bills, but they're going to use it as the front money to buy,
In a quarter mile, turn right after the gas station.
like illegal substances. Okay? And maybe even weapons. Right? So that they can,
At the light, turn right onto Preston Road.
rob, steal, and kill.
Continue on Preston Road for 3 miles.
So yeah, they have an unemployment office up here by the Galleria, and so that's where I'm going. And they closed down Irving, and they closed down the Garland employment office, and they are to temporarily come up here if they want employment assistance. So I'm going to tell you something too, right? Now, there are times that you may think you know what you know, and you do know what you know. However, what you know may be outdated, may be obsolete. It just might be, okay? It just might be. And like when it came to applying at Amazon, right? I didn't have to show up, in my workout attire, right? They just basically, you just fill out an application, they do a background check, and they just say, okay, or nay, if you got, criminal history and you don't pass the drug test, right? Interesting enough, they will give a drug test periodically. Also, they also said that, they can rehire you if there's no, if you didn't have like some discipline stuff against you. But I'm going to be honest, even though I like the idea of not having to be dressed up, and that, I did get a workout, right? And I was able to work by myself. That was good. I like that, right? But, then they try to make it seem like you were weird if you stayed to yourself. It was like, how am I weird if I stay to myself? And then when I do talk to somebody, then you reprimand me for talking. It was weird. It was damned if you do and damned if you don't at that place, which that's what made me feel like, okay, these guys, they fucking with your head, they really don't want you there, And it was mainly a bunch of weird guys who have these, weird notions about, what men's positions are in the world. Right? Just because there are some men out there that are protective, and I guess you can say like the guardians, in our society. They think all men are, and all men aren't. Or they think that all men can be, and that's not true either. I wonder what this button's for. I'm gonna have to find out. So yeah, that's almost as stupid as saying that any and all women can be the Queen of England. And that's a lie. Not all women can be the Queen of England. Shit, she was a Taurus Aries woman. She was a cusper.
In a quarter mile, use the second from the left lane to turn left onto Alpha Road. At the light, use the second from the left lane to turn left onto Alpha Road.